Welcome to the 2024 San Felipe 250 Knockout Disqualification Extravaganza. They deserve it. You got DQ'd? Damn it. DQ'd? Are you kidding me? No points for the San Felipe 250? No points. You show up, you put all that effort into going racing, and you get no points for the championship. That stuff's got to stop. There should really be no disqualification for any team unless they do something extremely terrible, like really, really terrible. But taking a line, despite being warned that you're going to get DQ'd, it just should never be a penalty. Disqualification is just wrong, in my opinion, unless it's like super cheating. Now, do I think that a line taken and warned about, and then you still did it, kind of thing, you deserve a huge penalty. They're obviously trying to keep the racers off of certain sections of the race course, and they've done it with just VCPs in the past. And why not put a VCP there, and then people just don't gamble with that? So it's another lesson. You have to go to the riders meeting. You got to go pay attention. I could tell you another story. Back a long time ago in 2012, I went to the riders meeting and a couple of my opponents didn't, and it ended up biting them, and at the end of the race they thought I was cheating, and it was just like, I went to the riders meeting, I know exactly where it went. And I learned that from Johnny Campbell. You've got to go to the riders meeting, despite how boring it is. Anyways, I think the DQ is quite gnarly. I think it's 4 riders in the pro class being DQ'd is just a little aggressive. I'm not even going to talk about the other teams. I think that in racing, but because I'm all about pro motos. I think they're the manliest class. I think they've got the biggest balls doing the gnarliest stuff because there's no cage and they're going wide open and they're opening the race course and nobody knows they're coming, but here comes a wide open dirt bike. So class 22 open pro bike, by far gnarliest class. That's all I care about. Obviously that's what I did. But anyways, let's talk about unofficial results before we go to official results, and I'll try to be as brief as possible. Unofficial results were actually really cool. I think that I'm not really sure how it kind of broke down with, like, 1X was actually kind of leading all day on adjusted time, but 13X was physical and 9X was second, and then it was 1 and then 11. And I think that if you weren't paying attention really closely, it was hard to quite understand. But 14 teams, that was a 14-minute split, or 13 teams, I think it's 14. That that's 14 minutes in between each guy, and it was quite a big spread. And when you're someone like 13X who gets to start first, clear air, I can really commend them for managing as young kids, and they did a great job, I think, and they deserve to not get DQ'd. They certainly don't. 7X the same. They don't deserve to be DQ'd, but I think they did a great job. I think 13X managed a great race, and they won as first bike through the finish line, but obviously not on unofficial, but a solid result for them. I think 1X put a solid result in. I think Shane Logan is working really hard, and he's doing a great job at being a dominant rider in Baja. I think it's really cool that they've had different teammates and they're just making it happen. I think that still the man to beat is Justin Morgan in score racing. He took some time off, and I raced him in 21, and I think he was there in 22 at the 1,000, but they obviously he wasn't racing in 23, but he showed back up. He went from 10th starting position, where he crashed. He had already made up 3 minutes at least, and he was basically moving through the pack, and in about 120 miles he put the 7X Honda in front of everyone, and that shows dominance. That's why he's rider of record, and this is a note for all you people that think you should, pay for the team and then you're rider of record and you have these younger kids go racing. It's really stupid. Give the glory to the guy who's working the hardest, the one who rides the most miles, the one who helps test the best. Give that glory to those racers that are really trying. Make, if you want to have your name out there and you're paying most of the money, just make your race team be called your name, So anyways, that's just my opinion. I've seen it a lot with a lot of people in the past, and it's still happening, and it's just kind of silly. Rider of record should have to do a solid chunk of miles so you really can get behind the guy that who's winning the race, and history says so and so won that race and he really earned it. That's my opinion. I'll leave it there. So good job to Justin Morgan for pretty much showing he's still the man to beat. I would say Shane Logan's the second man to beat in Baja, and third would be Carter Klein. It's his first San Felipe 250 race. He really only knows San Felipe, but he is proving that for a young man, 19 years old, he was riding KTMs, now he's on a Honda. He just won the race unofficial. He went down the racetrack, he followed all the rules, and he won the race. I think that Arturo and Carter have a really good thing going on with Hero Motorsports, and congratulations to those guys because it's a brand new team. I think once you get more miles, you're going to see more potential issues. It's a lot harder, but they do have some Baja veterans running the show. So, and they have a great set of suspension with AHM. So, and just so you guys know, this little recap sponsored by AHM Factory Services and Voodoo Ranger Hard Charge T and Baja Bound Insurance. So make sure you guys get Baja Bound Insurance because they support the sport. They're helping teams, and they want to make it easy to cover your vehicle, and they really love it. So Baja Bound's a rad company. Right when they started, they've been helping me, and I really love that group of people and appreciate them. Back into the racing, and I really feel for Kieran. Some people asked how Kieran was doing. I haven't talked to him. I do know that I did get a picture of quite an ugly finger. It didn't even look like a finger anymore. It was just a bloody mess, and it looked like it pretty much wasn't there. So I can tell you that that's really painful. I have nearly chopped off one of my fingers and had to get it sewn back on, and it was just there's a lot of nerve endings there, and it could affect you. It would have been something where you had to duct tape that thing on and get it to the next pit if he was really feeling Superman. Anyways, it'll really knock you down when you have something like that, and I think it's really hard to regroup from an issue like that. So I commend the 7X for kind of unofficially bringing back their race and going pretty dang fast even after those issues, and because there was a 33-minute split at Morelia, which is like halfway, and then they were less than 20 at the finish. So they're going fast. Obviously, if they decide they're coming to the Baja 500, I think they're going to be a tough team to beat. But you have to be perfect, and that's the way Baja is. And you got to go down the racetrack because that's who the race director. That's the rule of the race director. So, got to go down the racetrack. They're really flexing their muscles and they're really throwing the punches. And I've been punched, I've been flexed at, and I never really intentionally wanted to cheat for any reason in score racing. All I did is play the Baja game, and you still get popped for certain things that I feel like potentially weren't fair. And I'm sure that's what 7X is feeling. I'm sure 1X is feeling that. I'm sure 13X is feeling it. I think that they probably think that they were dealt an unfair card. I don't know the exact issue. I don't know the exact fault of where they went, other than what was shown on like Fishgistics and like the fact that they were told not to go on a specific road and they did anyways. So in 2013, actually, Caselli and Ivan Ramirez, there was a big kind of thing about how far off you could go from the race course, and and Score at that time just picked like 3 or 4 spots and checked them, and if you were off there, you pretty much got massive penalties. And it's their show, it's their game. They're going to play it the way they want when I talk about Score. So fortunately, that's what they're doing. It's really cool. Again, 14 teams. I really like the excitement behind. I was excited, at least. I enjoyed covering the race. It was quite difficult. I think we could do it better. If you guys are following along and you want to go down to Mexico and you have a Starlink and you want to be a part of it, it would be a massive help. I think in the future, if we can get some more sponsors on board, we can get some expenses covered for people like you guys that have a Starlink, you've invested in it. So feel free to reach out and we can communicate when it comes closer to June if we want to continue to do this. I think that, again, my sponsors stepped up really well, and it made it possible for me to be down there. It was fun with AHM Factory Services making everyone's bike that much more in tune for the race. We worked with about 8 or 9 teams. If you guys run AHM suspension, Ironman, any class, if you run an AHM suspension, you get free testing, free setup. This is all stuff that I've been doing a long time, so I can tell you that a lot of teams that work with us really benefit. Speaking of the 8X team, they showed up. They had a different company suspension. They paid hourly at the test, and we did a fork swap for them and off of pre-runner and did more setup, and those young kids podiumed after the official results. So they got they got 3rd place, and they rode really good. For young kids, I want to commend the 8X team, the 9X team of the Eddies. I think those guys, and Jared Megla, I think those guys rode really good. And obviously the 13X team, all those guys deserve a heavy kudos, because it's really cool that they were able to kind of set a pace and not make a lot of mistakes during a race course that is really difficult. San Felipe is really tough. And just to back up a little, San Felipe, they started the race at 6 a.m. and the sun was just like not there. It was dark. It's hard to ride through that first 40 miles. I really commend all the riders that were doing it. I was standing there going, I really am glad I'm filming and not racing right now. But being down there, I still have the Baja bug. I still always want to go racing and prove that I'm macho guy. But anyways, some more questions. Some people asked, or I had a question about, whether Score's making headway with kind of if they're staying more consistent with penalties. And I would hope so, but I can't say that. It's from race to race. I can tell you that it's nice to see certain teams get penalized because of their faults. And I've seen some and know of some other things that have happened and where they didn't get penalized, and the fault was much bigger than, say, myself, who had a crew turn around on an access road to a pit, so and intruded a racer. So I think I've been treated a certain way, and I think that certain teams, in my thoughts, I feel like they may have gotten a special treatment, but it proves that maybe Score is being very consistent and nobody's getting special treatment. And we'll see how the rest of the series goes. I can tell you that if you get DQ'd, you absolutely cannot recover for the championship. So I think that's why it's so dang harsh. I think there needs to be like a 30 or an hour long penalty for lines that shouldn't be taken. But obviously Score's up to their neck, and the disqualification is what they wanted to do. So officially, congratulations to Carter Klein and Arturo Salas. Those guys, they crushed it. They had a solid ride. Arturo stopped for a downed rider, so they got some time back. And then Klein got on, and he's the young man that, he proved himself, in my opinion. He pulled time in from the middle of the race to the finish, and then he was close enough, and after adjusted penalties, he's he's the winner. Super cool to see that he's kind of putting it all together, especially from going from a KTM to a Honda. I already kind of said that. I had some other questions with, like, why did the SD Powerhouse or the Gen 2, the new model bikes, have battery issues? And I believe the battery issue is from either two things. I think the Stella unit is either drawing too much amperage, or those bikes had, they swap because they don't trust the new lithium battery. They swap to a lead acid battery, and lead acid depletes their charging capacity only to 50%. So you can only deplete a lead acid battery 50% of what it says as far as amp hours go, and a lithium battery will deplete 100% of its full charge. So I think the lithium is still a better option. I think there's potential issues with that. I don't know what batteries they're running. I can't say that it was, that or not, but I'm still running all my stock 450L and X Gen 2 style batteries, the lithium LE batteries that come stock, and I haven't had ever an issue at all. So I have seen my brother's, he connected it to a normal trickle charger, and it blew the BMS out, but I removed the BMS and the cells still work. And so that's just a little battery knowledge for you guys. Off on a tangent, I think that the Stella unit is potentially pulling more power. Bobby mentioned, that it was the same package as last year, and the Stella unit shakes, and you never have the same unit. It can be on a car for 3 years and then they give it to you. I don't know the deal if they're swapping them out more, or I can tell you that they've added another antenna or another tracking kind of source that pulls from the unit, and then they make you connect to the battery. I can tell you that they've said that has a 72-hour battery capacity in the unit, and maybe that's not the truth. I don't know. It's something that people as racers need to kind of do their own research. Might be something I could do eventually as a YouTube thing. I'll rent a Stella unit and see how quickly it drains a lead acid compared to a lithium battery. That might be kind of a cool little test that people would like to see. What else is next?
Someone asked, is the DSQ thing new? Guys have been taking off-course lines for a long time.
Yeah, the disqualification thing is in the past. Lines have been, if you take them, you have a certain amount of time penalty or whatever. And in the past, it's been like, okay, if you take this, you get 30 minutes or whatever. I think that's why certain people rolled the dice, is because they've, Baja racing is a progressive style management, if that makes sense. The race director manages that style stuff kind of each race, and I've over the time I've been racing, you're sometimes a victim of certain things. And when they first started implementing VCPs, everyone was like, yeah, right, they're not going to do any of that stuff. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, you took this line and this line and this line, and then I forget, it was like back in 2010 or 11, I think a Beta won the motorcycle race, and it was basically Kendall, and Quinn got first, and myself. There was like a 1-2 Honda sweep, and we ended up getting like 5th and 6th. And it's just a progression of how, those rules change, and I think that they need to make them very upfront, and I think they did at the riders meeting this year, and people just rolled the dice and they took the lines that they did, and they got hit. Again, do I think it's right? I don't. I think that sometimes they need to do a little bit of parenting, so to say. Like you threaten you're going to spank, and then you just give a lesser penalty. I don't think that a team like 7X, 13, like that just kicks you straight in the nuts, and you don't have any more. All you can now do is set up your race team to try to win races and win bonuses that you set up with your sponsors, because you're never going to win the championship. You can't win a championship if you get disqualified in the first round. There's no way to recover from those points. It's going to be an interesting play. And I can tell you that I predict that the 7X will show up for the 500 and the 400, but 7X and 11X are going to blend together if it that's my prediction for the Baja 1000, because SLR needs a championship, and that's what's important in racing, is championships pay dollars. And I think that's all I got for you guys. I think I answered most of the questions. I want to tell you that I think Score did a really good job with their I think it had some scrutiny, but I think they did a good job with their race course. You know, I think that the complete bike cutoff and then a longer section, Kirker and Jose G did a really good job, I think, with that idea. I think those are the two guys that were thinking about doing it, and I wish I could have raced that bike only section to see how it broke down, and I've never had that opportunity where it was just bikes kind of breaking in the race course. It was just single motorcycle lines. I bet it stayed really pristine, and there was probably a lot of opportunities to be really smart and have really good lines, and they didn't get, you know, ruined by a truck or whatever. So I can tell you that I went out there while we were testing with AHM with my son, and I went back to a line that Mark Samuels and I built that was like 6 miles long, and it was just next to the race course in whatever, back in 2012 or something, and that thing was it was a truck wide, and it's just the way Baja racing goes. So lines are always parallel for the most part. For you guys who think I'm cheating, it's not. It's a way to get, you know, when you race 400 miles straight, you can't just hammer whoops all day long. Sometimes you got to build your line and get creative and make your own little race course. And take that as a tip rather than something where you think I'm cheating or something like that. So kudos to Score for putting a cool race course together again, but maybe the parenting side of things they could benefit from a lesser slap on the wrist, maybe a 30 or an hour long penalty, because it sucks. I hope that the other teams come back racing. I want to throw a shout out to Bryce Stavron and Jack Mentha, the Australian. I worked with them with AHM, and Bryce Stavron moved up from the 30 class. He's been racing in Baja practically. He raced his first Baja race the same time I did, practically, with JCR. And I think he's finally matured, and I think he's got the speed, and it's really cool to see those guys put a little effort together. It's really cool to see all the teams put an effort together. And it's unfortunate that their teammate had a bad crash, but he's doing okay. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Hope I wasn't too boring. And man, getting DQ'd. Ouch. See you guys later. If you want to go to Baja, you want to come out to the Champ Ranch, do some lessons, let me know. I can help you set your bike up with lots of different things. We can do a Baja ride. We can ride up to Big Bear. It's a beautiful place here. I've been working really hard on my property, and I would invite you guys out for a coaching lesson. I got a motocross track. I think you could really benefit, especially those guys who are going Baja racing. Guys like 25X are taking advantage of it. I've helped Carter Klein in the past. I've helped a lot of racers that are racing down there. And yeah, thanks for watching.